Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. This is the 23rd part of What If Deku Was a Magical Girl Mascot, Quirk, Magical Girl Mascot. The author of this great fanfic is Emma. I believe links to them and original story in the description. Chapter 23, Interning is Hard. Izuku was in animal form on the train sitting across from Shoto. "You know you don't have to be in your animal form," said Shoto. "The more time I have while I'm with him the better," sighed Izuku, plus there's the whole sleep thing. Turned out while Izuku did have a small drawback when it came to his time. If he lost sleep his time would get cut short. It varied on how much time he would have in proportion without much sleep he lost. He figured he would have a couple hours in human form if he lost an entire night's of sleep at this point, but he would rather not see the extent, especially when it came to dealing with Endeavor. "Do you need a nap?" asked Shoto, having learned about it. "No, I got a full night's sleep," said Izuku, "but I don't know about the rest of the week." Shoto nodded. She looked at Izuku. "Do you think he'll think I'm going full girl?" asked Shoto. "I don't know, it really depends on if he knows about the law," said Izuku. Turned out in the early days of quirks a bunch of right-wing politicians were able to ride the wave of quirk hysteria and passed a ton of laws that were against LGBTQ+ rights. Many of them had gotten repealed over the years, but the school uniform one hadn't yet. It was for really stupid reasons like it being the status quo, or it's such a low priority even with Tiger fighting against it. On one forum about that topic someone kept posting a clip from some old American pre-court TV show of a guy dressed like Uncle Sam singing "I'm the government. I'm the government. I'm the reason nothing works," with various dubs and subtitles. "If he does think you're going full girl, I really hope he doesn't take it out on me," sighed Izuku. "I doubt he'll still care," sighed Shoto. She knew how nervous Izuku was at dealing with Endeavor. He did agree to go along with it. But considering everything, let's just wait and see what happens, sighed Izuku. With Katsuki, she made it to Mirko's agency. The rabbit-themed superheroine was waiting for her. Katsuki looked at the rabbit-themed superhero. "I usually work alone," muttered Mirko, "but there was something about you." "Whatever," muttered Katsuki. "So suit up and let's figure out where to go from there," said Mirko, "and do it quick." That was when Katsuki transformed into her magical girl form. Mirko smirked when she did that. "Okay. I wasn't expecting that quick," said Mirko. "Just show me what you want to show me already," muttered Katsuki. It was clear that both of them were going to have fun that week. Meanwhile in a beach house, Tsuyu was beginning introduced to the agency, which took the form of 5 heroines known the Magnificent Mermaids. A water rescue team that was inspired by the very popular Wild Wild Pussycats. "All right," yelled a woman dressed in red outfit whose hero name was Arista, "we have a magical girl with our team. Take that, Wild Pussycats." Tsuyu and the other 4 sweat dropped. "What's wrong with her?" asked Tsuyu. "She has an obsession with beating the Wild Pussycats," said the member in green named Rina. "Just try to tune her out," said the member who wore pink whose name was Shirahoshi. "I heard that," yelled Arista. "Good," yelled the one dressed in orange who went by the name Madison. "If you're wondering, it's like this all the time," said last member who was in a blue outfit and went by Sikao. She thought it was funny compared to her teammates. "I'm not really surprised," said Tsuyu. Meanwhile Achiko was in patrol with Gunhead, who despite his rather scary appearance was actually quite sweet. Hours later, Izuku and Shoto made it to Endeavor's agency. "It's about time the two of you arrived," he said with a scowl. "Both of you get ready, we're leaving." "Where are we going?" asked Izuku. "We're going to Hosu to find the hero killer," muttered Endeavor. "Seriously?" asked Izuku. He had since learned that it was Stain the hero killer who took down Ida's brother. "Yes," said Endeavor, also I expect you to mostly use Shoto's quirk during this. That is why I picked you. Of course, said Izuku very nervously. Izuku got changed while Shoto waited for him, since she could change an instant. While Izuku was getting changed, Shoto was texting Ida. She was worried about him too and figured letting him know about what was going on might get his mind off of Stain. Granted, it was for him be weary and to act as backup in case Endeavor pulled something. But it was better than nothing. Hey! I'm ready, said Izuku. Then he saw she was on her phone. What are you doing? Texting Ida and letting him know we were going to be in Hosu, said Shoto, just in case. Oh, that makes sense, said Izuku. I still don't think he'll pull something, but it's always a good idea to let him know, said Shoto. She handed her phone to Izuku and then transformed as anything she was holding while transformed would be sent to the same place as her clothes. Oddly enough, her magical girl costume did have weird pockets in her skirt where she put her phone. We shouldn't make him wait, muttered Shoto. Izuku nodded. In Hosu, Ida was changing out of his costume when he noticed that he had gotten a text from Shoto. He's bringing us to Hosu to find the hero killer. Followed by just letting you know. Ida paled when he saw that text. Tenya, are you okay? Asked the hero he was in turn. Oh, just 2 of my classmates are coming to Hosu as part of their internship, said Ida. Oh, that's cool, said the hero who was named Manuel. If you see them you should say hi. Ida nodded, not wanting to tell Manuel that there was a small chance that they might have to do something to Endeavor. Much like Shoto, he doubted that Endeavor would pull something even with everything he'd done. He remembered after he passed the exam his brother did warn him that Nizu was extremely scary when mad, so don't cross him. But thinking about his brother made him remember why he went to Hosu in the first place. He'd help out if they asked for the help, but for the time being he wouldn't think about them. Well, unless they ended up meeting up on the street, but that's completely different. The next day, with Katsuki, she was taking a break from sparring Mirko to check on her phone. You keep checking your phone when you have a break, you worried about a boyfriend or something? Asked Mirko. He's more like a brother, said Katsuki. What got you so worried? Said Mirko. Would you believe me if I told you that Endeavor was an abusive asshole? Asked Katsuki, and that he might hurt my best friend despite the fact he's on thin ice right now with you, eh? Maybe a little, said Mirko. Katsuki blinked as she looked at Mirko. What? I've heard story of Endeavor knocking autograph boards out of kids' hands, muttered Mirko. Just don't go spreading the word, said Katsuki with her eye twitching. Whatever, muttered Mirko. Meanwhile with Tsuyu, she was a boat with most of the magnificent mermaids. The reason why most was that Rina's quirk essentially turned her feet into boat propellers, so she acted like an engine for their boat. You seriously use your teammate as an engine? Asked Tsuyu. It's better for the environment, said Arista with a shrug. It's a living, they heard Rina say from a radio. Tsuyu was surprised. That was as joke. They heard Rina say from the radio. You know she would have quit if she hated it, right? Asked Madison. Tsuyu blinked and realized they were right. With Achiko she was learning how to handle an opponent with a knife. With Izuku and Shoto they were on patrol trying to find the hero killer. But they didn't find them that day. The next day pretty much went the same for everyone. However, it would be the next night that would change everything. As they were still looking for the hero kill, they suddenly heard a loud explosion. Endeavor, Izuku and Shoto ran to where the explosions came from. It took a bit, but they made it. What they saw made both Izuku and Shoto freeze. It was a large muscle-bound creature with black skin and, more important, an exposed brain. In other words, another Nomu. It's another one, said Izuku. There's more, muttered Shoto. You know what this is? Asked Endeavor. It's similar to the thing that attacked the USJ, said Shoto. Endeavor scowled. You too. Help in the evacuation and use your quirk if you have to, ordered Endeavor. The two heroes in training nodded and looked to find people who needed help. Are you just going to use my quirk? Asked Shoto. Probably not a good idea right now, said Izuku with a sweat drop. Good, said Shoto. They had found some people trapped behind from debris. Izuku used Ochiko's quirk to lift the debris. The people were free once they were away from the debris. Izuku realized. Come on this way, said Shoto. They began to lead the bystanders to safety when they heard something above them. They both turned towards the noise, and it was a second Nomu. This one was much paler, however, and it had dragon-like wings. It swooped in and grabbed Izuku. Izuku! Yelled Shoto. Go save your boyfriend, we're pretty much safe, said one of the bystanders. He's not my boyfriend, muttered Shoto, who felt very annoyed. Also, she was still attached to girls. Whatever, go help him, yelled the bystander. Shoto nodded and ran after the Nomu. In the air, Izuku was struggling at the Nomu. He realized a good thing would be to activate Shoto's quirk. He channeled the power to where the Nomu had grabbed him. Its feet were both frozen and burned to the rent that it let go of Izuku. Midair, he quickly switched to Ochiko's quirk and used it on himself. Thankfully, Shoto created an ice slide below him to help him. He realized the quirk and slid down. Thanks, said Izuku. Shoto nodded. However, they heard the leathery wings swooping toward them. The Nomu stared at Izuku. It had a look in its eyes that looked like it almost recognized him. Why is it after me? Said Izuku. Maybe it knows you ripped out the brain at the USJ. Said Shoto. Don't joke about that, yelled Izuku. I wasn't joking, said Shoto. Izuku's sweat dropped. It swooped towards him again. Izuku used Tsuyu's quirk to jump out of the way. He then used his tongue to warp around the Nomu's leg to slam it into the wall. However, the Nomu quickly recovered. Shoto then summoned her wand and pointed the ice side at one of the wings, freezing it with the shards. As it was going down, Shoto began to twirl her wand, creating the gust of wind that blew away the Nomu. Both of them breathed a sigh of relief that it wasn't coming back. Before either could say anything, they heard a scream from a nearby alleyway. They looked at each other and headed towards the scream. They got the alleyway and saw something that made both of them go deathly pale. It was a man standing over someone in armor. He was armed to the teeth with swords and knives. He wore a worn white mask over his eyes and he had a misshaped face. Both of them recognized him as the hero killer, Stain. However, what was worse was the person he was standing over. It was Ida. And he was bleeding profusely. And nearby was a hero injured but clearly alive. Shoto was the first to recover and sent out a stream of water that sent him flying. Shoto then created a small wall of ice. Todoroki. Midoriya. Tenya said very weakly. Izuku ran towards his friend. Ida. He cried. You went after the hero killer? Asked Shoto. I couldn't help it, said Ida. I had to. They both noticed the hero, while he couldn't move, was relatively unharmed and still alive, meaning Stain went after Ida first. However, he started crying. He was losing too much blood. Izuku took out his phone and sent out an SOS to Endeavor and the sidekicks that were in the area. We'll get help soon, said Izuku. Hang on. I don't know if I can, Midoriya, cried Ida. Izuku started to cry as well. No, cried Izuku. I'm sorry, cried Ida. I don't know if they would get here in time. Izuku shook. If only there was something he could do. That was when it hit him. He didn't know its full capabilities after all, but if it could heal that, it might be able to. Ida, I think I can save your life, said Izuku. Ida's eyes widened. But, if I do it, there's a price, said Izuku. Ida quickly realized what it meant. You mean? Said Ida. Yeah, said Izuku. That was when the ice wall was destroyed with several cuts. Shoto took a defensive stance to protect them and the hero that was there. The two of you came to save him, said Stain. Neither Izuku or Shoto answered. So far it looks neither of you are fakes, said Stain. Fakes? Thought Izuku. Shoto, who still had her wand out, prepared it. She knew that she had to protect them. Izuku looked at Ida, unsure if Ida would take him up on his healing. After all, the price of the healing was a steep one, but it was a serious choice. After all, the only way possibly save Ida's life at the moment was by forming a bond with him. Meaning the choices were to either live the rest of his life as a woman or die as a man. That will be it for this part. I hope everyone enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like and comment if you want part 23. If you want to hear more from me, subscribe. I hope to see you all in the next one.